Hey, what's going on guys? Arekkz here, and welcome back to another video for Plan 8. It's been a little while since I last spoke about this. We did a video at the end of last year when Pearl Abyss had their announcement. They announced a whole range of different games. We covered a couple of them on the channel, and Plan 8 was one of those games. This is, for those of you that missed it, being described as an Exosuit MMO shooter. Now, there'll probably be a lot of loot components in it because obviously it's an MMO and it's a shooter, so you can probably reference it more so like a looter shooter, but either way, it is an Exosuit MMO that is being developed by Pearl Abyss. Now, at this stage, we don't know a great deal about it. The trailer you're seeing in the background is the only trailer we've had up until this point, but recently they dropped a few new screenshots, got my kind of memory jogged again, reminding me of the game. It is something that I'm looking forward to. Yes, we don't know a lot right now. We don't know how it'll pan out. We don't know whether they're going to heavily monetize it, being like a creative MMO, but the prospects, the, sort of the setting for it, the theme for it, the fact that you get to go around and play around as these sort of exosuits, and it looks like there's quite a fair bit of like agility and combat to it, that is something that I like. And for that reason, I'm going to be watching this game. Whether it turns out to be a good game, we obviously won't know just yet, but of course there's no harm in sitting back, watching, and just sort of going in with an open mind, because if it ends up being as cool as the gameplay looks or the trailer makes it look, then we could be in for a pretty fun experience. But in this video, I wanted to just take a moment to effectively round up what we've seen so far on the exosuit front, because of course that is a core pillar to this game. You obviously have, I guess, craft, upgrade, exosuits, and they obviously augment you with different abilities, and we've seen some of those already, and they're of course better shown off in some of the screenshots. So in this video, we're going to go over all the exosuits that we currently know about. So if you do enjoy this, then a like would be super appreciated. Don't forget to turn on notifications if you guys are looking forward to this game, or you just sort of haven't been catching our videos lately. Don't forget to turn that on. It does of course massively help us out, and people have been saying recently they haven't been catching all of our videos, so you may want to turn that on. But either way, let me know in the comments down below as well if you guys are looking forward to this game, or if you've got any questions, or if you've got any ideas as to what some of these exosuits may do. But if we scrub through the trailer, then of course the very first one worth talking about, I'm going to call this the agility exosuit for now. When you actually look at the later part of the gameplay, you'll see there's this sort of workshop area, which I guess is where you go as sort of like your hub base, and you can then upgrade different parts because these sort of exosuit elements go on different parts of the characters. In this situation, the agility one, they are legs on this woman. Meanwhile, on some of the characters later on, their torso augments or just arm augments. But from what we can see from this one, this of course gives you a lot of speed and the ability to run on walls, which is very, very cool. I mean, any chance you get to run on walls, I like that kind of stuff, right? Any sort of platforming, movement, jumping, wall running, that is my jam. So, I mean, they should just make an MMO that's just a platformer. That would be amazing. Anyway, I digress. That is what I'm calling the agility one. So that is your fast movement capabilities, ability to slide around, jump around, and of course run on walls. But if we then jump forward, you can see that in this situation, there is instead a torso augment, like a sort of torso exosuit that gets put on the top of the character, which of course is there to augment your upper body capabilities. We also see single arm augments as well, which is just focused around like an arm exosuit. And as we'll see in a minute, that basically gives you much greater upper body strength. Now, there's a couple in this video that I'm going to sort of categorize in the slightly more stealthy aspect, because obviously you've got things like agility, you've got just sheer brute strength, which allows you to kind of, smash down windows, smash down doors, and just run through and wreak havoc. But there seem to be also some of those that if you want to play slightly more stealthily and take enemies out like that, then you have a couple of options. The first of which is this sort of scorpion-like wire, this sort of get over here kind of thing. You can see that the character has this augmented arm, and then from that arm comes out this sort of electric looking whip. In fact, there's sort of parts of it that look almost like Ivy's whip, because when you look at it as it's expanding, there's sort of blade-like parts amidst the actual chain, and it then wraps around the enemy, appears to pass some kind of current through it, shocking it, and you then take them down. So that could be pretty good if you want to, stealthily sneak around the area. Jumping off from there, we then get a look at what one of those arm augments can do. You can of course see that the player is able to slide down the wall in this situation, so you can probably use it for traversal, and you can also pick up enemies like this. So this is obviously going to be one of those situations where it's just like sheer strength increase. You can pick up enemies, you can, strangle them, you can rip doors off, things like that. So that is all going to be pretty handy. Now, after that, we have what I'm going to kind of call the sort of defensive unit. This one is less so about strength, less so about stealth. You can see that the rest of the character is, largely speaking, humanoid, normal legs, normal arms and everything, but they have this backpack-mounted blade, which, when the enemy gets close, will actually go and slice them in half. So I guess this is sort of some kind of cooldown-based defensive unit. So if you want to focus more so on range attacks, more so on guns, then you can instead allow that to kind of defend you as you get close. We also have the Jetpack Unit, so, you know, I tend to feel in games like this is probably going to be slightly more situational because the idea of having a jetpack just to fly around all the time anywhere, I mean, I know games have done it, I know in sort of MMOs you get flying mounts, but generally speaking, I feel like this may well be one of those sort of things you use from time to time. Maybe it ends up being like a power-up, but either way, the ability to jump out the window and fly, of course, is going to be pretty sweet. And if they do give you that level of freedom, that level of exploration, and you can actually just fly around and climb up buildings, I mean, that would be even better. Again, we then jump back to another look at the exosuits, the sort of upper body torso one, ripping a door off, using it as a shield. So again, that goes to show just pure brute strength. But then finally, following on from there, we then have the stealthier unit. You can see it has these Dr. Octopus style legs that you can then use to, I guess, stealthily walk around because there's this, you know, agent looking character in a suit. They move around very quietly and then they sneak behind everyone and take them all out. So I guess that paired with the electric whip are kind of a couple of the potential stealthy options. Now, obviously, we've got to look at those in the trailer, but if we quickly turn our attention to the screenshots, the brand new screenshots, they just show these in much greater detail and actually looks really, really nice. You have, of course, the very first screenshot being the arm. So again, there's this player that is shooting a gun with one hand at these rather weird-looking mech beasts. They've almost got kind of natural deer-like horns, but then they've got this sort of robotic mech-like structure to them. So that's actually quite an interesting look, but obviously he's got the arm and he's pulling that down to the ground, so that's your strength option. You then have another look at that sort of electric whip. You can clearly see the you know, the augmented arm on the right hand side, and then using that to take down enemies from afar. This one looks like it's gone even further down the augment path because this one you've actually got legs on stilts, so those kind of like robotic stilt legs. So you've actually got that sort of higher, more dominant position. Plus you've got like a bigger upper body rig, so you can hold this big heavy weapon. So I guess maybe this may well be your way to use heavier, more powerful weapons. Potentially you could run out with like a big Gatling gun. We actually saw that in the trailer as well. I assume that was more so one of the enemies, but the fact that we have the potential to do that is also pretty exciting. You then have a look at the torso modification, allowing you to rip enemies in half, which looks pretty brutal. And we then just have a look at a few characters just wielding guns as well, because the way the trailer sort of is stanced, the way that the, at least kind of what I've been able to gauge from the narrative from it, is that it seems like humanity is sort of on some kind of back foot. So to begin with, it may well be that you start off and you're pretty much just using guns, and then as you go, as the sort of, you know, story progresses, you'll probably then have the opportunity to farm parts, augment parts, and start building your exosuits. But for the time being, that is pretty much it. That's a rundown on everything we've seen so far, all the exosuits we know about. Now, obviously, you know, once they start speaking about this in more detail, we'll probably get more information on those items, on sort of how the suits work, how different things like that augment your abilities, and just in general how the game will flow. So as and when we do find out more, I'll be sure to keep you guys up to date. But for the time being, that is your update on Plan 8. I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. Remember to hit that subscribe button and also click on the little bell icon to turn on notifications so you don't miss my next upload. Also, don't forget, you can check out TwoSixNine and Paradise Central streaming over on Twitch 6 days a week. You can find a link to the multi-stream in the description box down below. Be sure to drop by and get involved. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.